Alright, for the next section I have taken this and centered this railing, and I've marked down here 6 inches away from the end, and it is exactly 6 inches on the other end from the inside. I'm doing the same thing I did with the squares, except I'm on the inside of them, so I'm running along the top of the board, not on the outside of the board. So I'll go ahead and cut this. Alright, I cut them both, and this was like this, and I thought, oh, well, I can just put it over here, and then I realized that this has a routed edge and the back doesn't, so you have to cut these down. Just exactly fits. I was able to fit it perfectly. So I'm going to cut this one and nail it in, and I'll show you where I am next. This one came loose. I'm going to glue this one thing too. Alright, well, it's the next morning. I started too late yesterday, so I had to call it a night. I got this part in like I was talking about the corner in. Looks pretty good. I went ahead and I was using these nails here. What are they? 3/4 inch nails for my nail gun, but with the depth of the railing here, it wasn't going very far in on those. On the molding, the smaller piece of molding, it was great for that, but I went ahead and got the next size up I could get. Unfortunately, was this, which is 1 1/4, and really that's too long. It really should be 1 inch, but I put them at a slight angle, and I was able to get them in just fine without them poking out the other side. I did run into one small problem. I don't know if you remember, but this was this was the railing. It was loose, and so when I went ahead and cut it, I think it went off a tiny bit in the angle, and it doesn't quite fit. The very tip corner is perfect, but it's too far out here, so this needs to be trimmed back just a tiny bit. And the same thing with the top railing. So I'm going to try to readjust those and cut them again to make them work, and then we'll be able to nail that in and move on to other things. Alright, so I think one lesson you can learn is, and I guess I've learned it, is don't second guess yourself. And so I tried to just trim off the bottom railing, and I started and I realized it was going to take too much of the end off, and my saw is just not good enough to be able to do that. So I stopped. I'm going to have to fill this in with wood putty, but that's fine. I've almost got it in now. What I'm just doing is I'm using sandpaper and just trying not to push at all on this tip corner that needs to stay there, and just working with it like this, and it's going to get there. Alright, so I ended up taking it out to the belt sander, and I did one piece at a time, and I got a very close fit, about as good as the other side, and it fits just really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and nail gun it in, and since these are loose, I'm going to do one piece at a time so that I can get a hammer in there if I need to set the nail in a little better. So I'll be back in just a second. Next step is I will go ahead and glue these into their proper positions. So let's go ahead and do that. Now for this part, what I do for the other one is I try to get a nail to go in sideways like that to hold this together. And that is going to be a challenge, but I think I can do it. I'm going to change my clamp here for just a minute. This. Alright, so the thing is to get enough pressure and hold it just right so that it works. you can see this, I have to take it up here. Okay, I got it together really well. Nail sticking out a tiny bit, but well, actually not bad. Not bad at all. Try to sink that in a tiny bit, but very good. Okay. So we got the railing done. The next step that we're going to do is we're going to measure off this board here to put be for the plates to rest against so they don't fall down. So I need to measure off exactly what I have here. Okay, that was easy. That's good. Let's see if it fits. You know what, I cut it a little bit too long. Take a tiny bit more off. It's okay if it's not snug on the ends too, because we're not going to have plates touching it at the very edges. Okay. That's good. Now it's perfect. So put one in right here. Okay, so now we got that. So now the last part is to put on these. And we'll do that in just a second. Alright, so this is how the bracket's going to look. But the finial here, if I drill a hole for this peg, I'm going to go right through the nail that they had to hold this together. So I'm going to have to saw off the peg, and I will nail gun the edge in and glue it. But this is an 1.5 inches wide, and then to the outermost point of the square it's 1.25 inches out to there. So I'm going to try to put it pretty much in the center. Definitely the center this way. I may bring it out a tiny bit, but that's the neat thing. With sawing this off, we can look. We don't have to set it, and we don't have to drill a hole for it, so we're not going to be setting in a particular place. So I'm going to saw the dowel off of 2 of these finials. Alright, so I went ahead and took these out and belt sanded them. They're nice and flat. Put them just like that. I think I'm going to put them, I'm going to mark the center this way, and I'm going to leave the center right where the nail is, because I believe that will be the center of the board below, pretty much. Maybe not quite. Maybe I should. I'll measure it off just to make sure. So I'm going to measure this. I'm going to mark it, and then I'll come back. Alright, so this is how I ended up doing this. I had the center point. I went ahead and put a nail down in there, broke the head off, and I also poked a hole in this one with a nail and pulled it back out. So now I should be able to put it down on there correctly. I do need a tiny bit of glue though. Yeah. And I'll spin it around when I get to the bottom, so that'll be good. So, get in the hole, there we go. There it is. Alright, so I went ahead and I've already installed one of the last 2 pieces, the angle wall bracket. I came 8 inches in exactly, so that's what I'm going to do on this end. So I'm going to come 8 inches in, and I'll staple it or nail it. Doing 2 nails on that side, and then I do 2 on this side right here towards the back. But I gotta make sure I don't go through on the other side. did go through on the inside. That one's good. Let's see. That one's not going to do me any good, so I'll add one more. There we go. Perfect. It's done. So now it is ready for painting. Alright, now I just got to lightly sand anywhere where I put the wood filler. Make sure that it's all nice and clean. So I'm going to do that and we'll paint. Alright, so here's my first coat. Kind of a cream. It's just extra, something I had.